Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's one. And you're live.
You're live.
Is the music playing, or am I supposed to play the music?
You play the music, right?
Okay, which button do I'm back in town. I don't remember. Top one, right there.
Wait.
I love that. Doolin did that too. Made it rock and roll, you know.
Talking to the people you want to know.
Yeah.
Face to face, one on one. We'll get the story and have some fun with Rhett Palmer.
And now, the most trusted name in radio, serving the Treasure Coast for over 30 years, Rhett Palmer, the mayor of the airwaves.
Yeah, the mayor of the airwaves. Well, sir, and here they got the doodly-doo-ba-doo. This is the mayor of the airwaves. Back in Vero Beach, Florida, beautiful sunny Vero Beach, Florida. Got in the day that the humidity ceased to exist. It has been cut. And I always used to tell my friends, I said, somewhere in October, usually mid-October, one day you wake up and it's just gone, and it'll be gone for like 7 or 8 months. And we have beautiful, beautiful weather. But please don't come to Vero Beach because we have enough people here already. You know, I have duplistic feelings about promoting Vero Beach because right now it's great. You can shoot a cannon down the street.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, what's coming up is really.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about here. I have former U.S. diplomat David Hunter, who, of course, lived in Pakistan. He lived in India. He lived in South Korea, Spain, and not Portugal, but Pakistan. I already said that. Ukraine. How could I forget that?
Yeah.
All those beautiful young people dying and the beautiful young Russians dying, and enough of war. Israeli hostages released. Boy, this is a miracle thus far.
Right.
But why were they ever captured? There's a big celebration that the last 20 living Israeli hostages have finally been released after 2 years in captivity by Hamas. And almost 2,000 Palestinians were also released by Israel. Well, I forgot we're on video here. Hi, folks.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. And 2,000 Palestinians were also released, hostage for prisoner swap. They were all Israelis taken hostage in the first place. Why were all Israelis taken first? Why were all those Israelis taken hostage in the first place? Did Israel fail to protect them?
Yeah.
You do wonder why it took a day for there to be no response. It's very, very questionable.
Well, see, this is where we're at right now. We have a peace. At least, God hope it'll last. But now that we have a peace, there are questions that need to be asked and answered. And one of the questions is, why did Hamas take these 250 hostages?
Well, they were smart to do that, obviously.
Well,
negotiating tools.
Yeah, well, negotiating for what? Negotiating to get their hostages, meaning prisoners, released from that Israel had. Israel has, right now, after it's just released 2,000 hostages or Palestinians, it has still 9,000 Palestinians in prison in Israel.
These Israeli soldiers are powerful. They collected all those guys?
Well, they actually collected.
Hamas must be a very inferior group.
Well, no. The point is that these are not necessarily Hamas people that are in prison. This is the problem. What they have what's called this involuntary detention program that they've been using for an administrative detention is the term for it. And they can they can grab somebody, literally grab them off the street, put them incommunicado, in jail, and hold them without access to a lawyer.
Just like Americans, I think I'm really shocked.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a whole generation of youth, whether they're in Russia, whether they're in Israel, whether they're in America, that have no idea. Apparently, they've not been taught the history of World War II, because anybody who knows what happened in World War II is going to be reticent to treat people unkindly. And you would think that these Israeli soldiers, I'm very disappointed. Somebody stepped over the yellow line yesterday, and how many people were shot and killed?
Seven.
And all they're trying to do is their homes are right on the edge, and they're trying to go into their homes. Why would they be shot and killed?
Right, exactly.
You don't need to shoot.
Yeah.
Do you think it's okay before the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that you murder?
And
Thou shalt not kill.
And during this
Don't they have a leader?
and during this 2-day peace program, actually it's like 5 days now, the food was supposed to be brought in as a condition of the ceasefire, and there has been very little food brought in.
Now, why did Netanyahu cut it in half now?
He cut it in half because
Because of these 7 little people?
No, because the Palestinians, their commitment was to release 28 dead bodies and they only released 4 or 8 of them so far.
Well, I bet you they don't even know where they are. They're dead, man.
Exactly, and that's what they've said before. They're dead. They're the people who capture them.
Let's be reasonable.
The people who capture them may be dead, and they may be buried under the rubble somewhere. So how do you find them? How do you find them?
Yeah.
Okay. There are estimated to be 11,000 missing Palestinians.
So you want to stir the shit up. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying don't say anything. Shut up. Yeah.
No, I'm saying you want to. No, not you. I'm talking about Netanyahu.
No, I
you
got
want
you.
to stir the crap up over people that are already dead
Yeah.
and cause more babies and children on both sides perhaps to die?
I know.
Do they
I
think
know.
they're impervious? Because I tell you what, you stir it up again, and more young, beautiful Israeli soldiers will die, and
Yeah.
more of these Hamas. You know, and I've seen videos where people who were in Hamas or they were in that other group. What was the group that was in when Obama was in office?
PLO.
No, that's way back in
Oh,
that's
okay.
back in Carter's time. Jeez.
Okay. ISIS.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've been converted, some of them to Jesus. They
Yeah.
have found the truth. You know, as long as somebody's still,
Right.
this is why I don't believe in the death penalty.
Yeah.
Because as much as I'd like it to be enacted in some cases, because while someone is alive, there's still hope for their souls to be converted.
Well. Anyway, going back to the basic question, one of the reasons this situation exists today is because hostages were taken. They took those 250 hostages because they wanted them as a bargaining chip to release some of the hostages / prisoners that Israel has. Israel has a whole vault of prison camps with torture and very bad conditions. Some of these people that have been released, they have explained every day they were beaten with canes and
People from Gaza?
yeah, the Gaza people that were in prison.
Because the Israeli soldiers are saying the same.
They were saying, they're literally saying that every day they were beaten by and there are all kinds of atrocities. Israeli prisons are
No, I don't. Even if you're on the right side, it
Yeah.
doesn't justify it before God. God sees the heart. And if you think you're
Yeah.
going to go, both sides,
yeah,
if you think you're going to go without eternal punishment from a
Yeah.
living God,
right.
he's watching us. Remember that song?
So anyway, that's one of the reasons why we had this situation. I said, why were they ever captured? I just explained one of the reasons. Because Israel was holding thousands and thousands of people in involuntary detention without charges, and these people have families in Gaza, and they want to get them out. So they part of this was to get out. Those hostages were bargaining chip to get some of these people out. They did get 1,700 out. So they accomplished something by capturing those hostages. It wasn't but there was a motive for it. That's what I'm trying to explain. It wasn't just pure evil. It was a motive. And now the second thing, as far as this this situation of why it happened, is what you call the intelligence failure, the massive intelligence failure of Israel. You always talk about how brilliant Israel is, how clever they are, how they do everything so well.
And that's why it's hard for them to con, because they know what's going on. Why? Tell me this. I don't even know anything about
Yeah.
this.
So basically, the point is,
Remember, folks, if you're listening, I am a Zionist, so
Yeah.
I'm pro-Israel
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah.
But I'm not pro-needless.
Netanyahu
I'm not pro-needless killing,
Yeah.
babies, children, families.
Right.
Bull crap.
Right.
We have the intelligence and certainly the ability. I mean, I still don't know why they didn't surreptitiously send Israeli. What do they call what's the Secret Service group?
Mossad.
Mossad.
Yeah.
Why didn't they send Mossad over?
Well, first-
Mossad should have gotten under the sod and going down those tunnels.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean, taking care of business.
Well, the fact is, Israel intelligence services were caught massively off guard by this whole operation.
Which one?
The
the
October
start?
7th,
October
the October
7th,
7th attack. Yeah. Now,
Well, something obviously was somebody
it was a
inferior
screw
was
up, massive screw up. Okay, let's be
Well-
honest about it. But the point is, Israel won't examine the screw up, so I'm going to examine it for you
Yeah.
if you let me finish. I
Yeah.
want to examine the screw up.
I want to know.
Okay, the screw up is first of all, And Netanyahu doesn't want this examination done until the end of the war. Now, keep that in mind.
Why?
Because he says, it will be too disruptive to our troops if we examine why we failed on.
Well, there might be some truth in that.
There
I don't
isn't
know.
any truth. It's basically
Well,
because
hold on.
my assumption, and most people in Israel's assumption, is that Netanyahu himself had a direct involvement in the massive screw-up that led to October 7th.
Well, you know that from the very start, a couple of years
Yeah.
ago, I said, as with now, I understand it was a big holiday, but why was there no response?
Yeah, for more than 15 hours. Yeah, 15 hours.
That's bullcrap.
Yeah, well, see, and I've got the answer to that. Okay, Israel has not
this
examined
conjecture on
No,
your
it's
part?
not. This is
Okay.
based on a study by West Point.
Whoa.
Okay, West Point did a study a year ago on this.
And what did they say?
Well, I'll get to that, but I want to explain.
You got me with bated breath here, buddy.
I want you to be bated breath. The point is, Israel is refusing to do their own analysis of what went wrong.
Because of what Netanyahu said.
Except that they have had there are two groups. One is called Shin Bet. Shin Bet is the FBI of the Israel. And Shin Bet did an analysis of their own, and they said that they had dramatically underestimated Hamas. That's what they said. And the guy, Ronan Bar, who was the head of the FBI there, Shin Bet, he resigned. He was forced to resign, basically, and he was made as a scapegoat.
So they thought, am I right about this? They thought Hamas was all non-professional, and they're finding out that they're more...
Shin Bet's statement is, for decades, the Shin Bet had a fundamental misunderstanding of Hamas. Now, think about that. You're sitting there with Hamas right next door, under your microscope.
You're yelling.
Okay, I'm
hold
just
on.
trying to get this.
Okay.
This is so preposterous.
Oh.
That the Shin Bet itself, in its own
But
written
I'm
report...
old. I don't have much hearing left in these
Okay.
ears.
In its own written report, it said, we, for decades, have had a fundamental misunderstanding of Hamas.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me, you're supposed to be the smartest guys on earth, you clever intelligence guys, and you had a
Yeah,
fundamental...
Rhett Palmer said so.
and you had a fundamental misunderstanding for decades about Hamas?
Rhett Palmer's disappointed.
Yeah. Now, you also have a second group besides Shin Bet that's responsible, and that's called military intelligence, Israeli military intelligence. That's the second group.
Isn't that a conflicting? Is that a
No.
conflicting
No.
military and
Yeah,
intelligence?
no, it isn't. It isn't. And,
Only kidding, folks.
okay, and there's a vaunted group within military intelligence called Unit 8200, 8200.
Yeah.
And they're famous for doing all kinds of things. They're like our NSA or something. They're very talented. So they had some women from Unit 8200 out there as an intelligence collection unit on the border at Base Oz, OZ, where one of these kibbutzes was. And there were, 30 women monitoring.
Oz, OZ?
OZ, yeah, OZ, Oz.
Really?
Oz, yeah.
Like
yeah.
the land
the
of
kibbutz.
Oz.
Well, the kibbutz is called Kibbutz Oz. And it's right on the border.
I stayed
literally.
in one of those kibbutz when I
Yeah.
was there,
Yeah. So anyway, they
Do
were
I get any
monitoring.
credit for that or anything?
It gives you a little point of understanding.
Yeah.
The issue here is that this woman who was in kibbutz, not kibbutz Oz, in Base Oz, she had gathered information, and the Israelis had collected information a year before this attack. That they basically had a complete document of Hamas's planning for this attack.
Yeah.
A year ahead of time.
Yeah.
Now, this planning document actually included that Hamas would use paragliders, okay, and that Hamas would capture 250 hostages. That's part of the plan that Israel had in its hands a year before the attack. Now, the question is, if you knew all about this plan a year before the attack, why were you caught unprepared on the day of the attack? Okay, that is a massive. In fact, it's really almost unexplainable, except that apparently some of these people at the lower level, the plan was called Jericho's Wall. That was what it was named by the Israeli intelligence services. Jericho's Wall, the Hamas attack plan. They did exactly what they had planned in Jericho's Wall a year ahead of time. They had it all out there. The Israelis did. Now, so the question is, there was massive hubris on the part of the Israelis and massive ignorance that the Hamas would actually do their plan. They thought it was just a piece of paper. They did not anticipate that Hamas would actually carry out the plan that Israel had in their hands. Okay? This is part of what needs to be explained in a after-action report with Netanyahu and others. And ironically, this is the part that is so, there's what's called a commission of inquiry. That would be the normal process for bringing the whole government of Israel into account by the Israeli government and its people, a commission of inquiry to find out what the hell happened.
Okay.
Now the issue, I want to just make one more point. The issue
You
is...
got 2 more minutes, and then I want to talk about Trump and how he accomplished this.
Yeah, okay. What I want to point out about this is that Netanyahu said that a commission of inquiry would be biased against him, and
Well, that's probably true.
and that the public would not trust the findings, and therefore there's no need for a commission of inquiry. So he's basically saying, let's forget it and move on.
He has an inflated idea of, he thinks nobody has duplicity. I mean,
It's called accountability.
Okay, now, first of all, Mr. Doolin Dalton, would you mind? I know this is not under your job description,
Yes.
but I forgot to bring 2 of those little bottles of water, and I'm really thirsty. Would you mind to bring me some water?
Right away, Mr. Palmer.
Can we have a name for that other character?
Yeah.
Right away, Mr. Palmer. Is that a New York accent there?
Do you want that with lemon or lime?
Neither.
Okay.
Matter of fact, don't open them because I don't want anybody spitting in them. I went to a restaurant the other day. I said, well, if I return that, they're going to spit in this. The waitress goes, oh, no. I said, well, don't tell them. Please don't tell them who it is.
All right. Well,
Because you know what? That's another thing. It's
Yeah.
a dangerous age to be known.
Well-
Because you go into places and people have these ideas of who you are, and they don't even know who you are. Oh, I got to know you. I thought you were arrogant all these years. I didn't know you were a regular guy, People make up this stuff.
Yeah.
And,
well, you look at this Governor Shapiro and the fact that his house was burned down. When
Terrible.
yeah, that was a horrible situation.
Yeah, the Jewish guy you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. And
The Jewish governor of what state?
I'm not sure
don't know.
where it is.
State of confusion.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I know that you're not really a pro-Trump kind of guy, and for years I have been.
I'm for Trump if Trump could get something delivered.
Well, he just did.
Well, that's what
but
we're
is
going
it
to
built
talk
on
about.
stilts? That's what I want to know.
Or is it a mirage? He talked about a miracle. He said at this summit in Sharm el Sheikh, the area of Egypt. He said this is a miracle. Peace has finally arrived. It's a miracle.
Well, I think that's true if it has happened.
It could
At
be,
least he's not taking the credit. He's saying God was involved
yeah,
somehow.
It could be a miracle, but it also could be a mirage. And the desert is full of mirages, as you know. That's so. And unfortunately, my own feeling is that while the original release of hostages on both sides, that's what I'll call them, on both sides, that was a tangible, evident result of a, quote, ceasefire. The rest of the plan, the rest of the 20-point plan, is really, as you said, built on stilts. It's not a very...
I don't know. I said it might be built on stilts.
Well, I'm going to examine that. I'm going to examine why it is built on stilts. First of all, in fact, that we can go to the second question if you want to, because that's where we're going to examine.
Well, I'm glad you're producing this show so well. Where are my glasses?
Probably on the top of your head.
Okay. You might want to look at the notes now. Okay, yeah, all right. This is something kind of productions here. Plentiful productions. We got plentiful ideas. And let's say, oh, there's a nice birthday cake. I don't know what that's doing in my photos. I didn't take it this morning. Okay, so I go to my photos, and I'm supposed to be able to find what I took pictures of, which is your
Doolin's-
questions. Those are the
Doolin's-
last things that I took pictures of. Okay, here we go. So number one is
we did
really
that,
so.
yeah.
Number two is Trump's 2025 plan for Gaza peace something new. In January 2020, Trump and Netanyahu announced a 180-page peace to prosperity, which included Israel annexing occupied West Bank illegal settlements into Israel's sovereign territory, demilitarizing Hamas, and offering limited sovereignty to Palestinians via land swaps. Now, this was prior to the October 7th.
Oh yeah, this was a long
Did
time
that
before.
happen 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
It happened. Well, it happened October 2023, 2024, 2025. So we're talking 2 years, the 2-year anniversary. Yeah. The prisoners had been in prison for 2 years when they got released.
But they also said, the Israelis said, that the Hamas would eat big meals in front of them and just leave a couple of grains of rice on the carpet for them.
Okay, well,
So nobody's treating anybody.
and those stories also may not be
you know what the
true.
amazing thing is?
You don't have evidence for those stories. There are horror stories.
But you just told me that you repeated stories that Hamas prisoners are saying they weren't treated well.
Yes.
But you want to believe those, but not believe the Israeli soldiers.
No, I actually think that we need to have more independent analysis. That's why, for example, now that we're in peace, we should let.
You know what?
Wait a minute.
Hold on. No, I
we
don't
should
give,
let
really
the
give
press
I
go in
understand.
there. Let the
I
press go in there.
understand. Hold on.
Yeah, let the
What
press
we
go
need
in.
here is we need a revolution of spirituality.
We need
that,
truth.
Look, these guys, you mistreat somebody and you think you're getting away with it for the day. If you're any kind of a decent person, that's going to follow you like a shadow. Can you imagine some of these guys that took orders in Germany in World War II and took what they took to their grave with them, knowing they were put in a position of power? Power corrupts. Did they rape Israeli women, or back then did they rape Jewish women? I mean, and that's probably why there's no female. You know, there's no female living. What do you call it? They brought in yesterday.
Well,
hostages.
they
There's
released
no
the women
female.
ahead of time. They released the women ahead of time.
But they didn't release
That was
any
the-
more women, probably because they, you know what they did with the
No,
women.
in fact, as I said, what we really need is what's called truth and reconciliation. That's what they did in South Africa. Okay, the ability to get
I'd
to
like
the truth.
to speak for my father, even though you haven't allowed me, Father. I don't give a damn. Stop the damn war and stop acting like you are.
Yeah.
If each individual is responsible for individual dignity, treat your fellow man with dignity. I don't care what your beliefs is. I don't care what somebody's done.
Yeah.
You have the power to treat other people with
Right.
dignity.
But the question comes back to, now that the war is over, should there be accountability for what was done by both sides?
See, this is why I shouldn't have a political show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be ending all politics in my life because clearly, I'm just my whole heart and my demeanor and perhaps my calling is just to be a vehicle of the love of Jesus Christ, not even the judgment of
Right.
Jesus Christ. I'm leaving that to Him. There's too much judgment going on that. You saw the guy with the Charlie Kirk. You got this Christian guy yelling at Charlie Kirk because he wouldn't put down the homosexuals and do this and that. I said, we're supposed to be loving and accept everybody. It doesn't mean we have to accept your sin is not sin. But Charlie Kirk, you find the videos. Everybody says he was mean-spirited. No, he wasn't, and he wasn't prejudiced. Find the videos, and they can't find the videos. You know why? Because Charlie Kirk was a good person. He was even pro to loving homosexuals or whatever you were into. So this kid that killed him, if that was in fact the kid,
Right.
now they're saying there's a guy in town here, a police officer, and he explained there's no way that kid acted on his own because because that weaponry and that bullet would have blown his head right off.
Yeah. Well, we're getting off the course here. The issue is, was the peace plan that Trump has just announced something new, or was this a regurgitation? And that's what I would like to explain to you. The regurgitation means in 2020, we just said that, 2020.
That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it.
Well,
it means he's been chewing on it for a while.
What it means, the reason why it wasn't adopted in 2020 was because it was such a terrible plan. Okay, it was a terrible plan.
What was the plan?
I'm going to explain it. The terrible plan.
We're waiting.
The terrible plan with bated breath. The terrible plan. It included some, and this plan of 2020 was written by Jared Kushner. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Well, Jared Kushner, he's the same guy, and also a guy named David Friedman, who was the ambassador at the time, the Trump ambassador to Israel. David Friedman and Jared Kushner wrote up this plan.
Was David Friedman the one who was killed, or no?
No. He wrote up the plan in 2020 that was proposed as a, quote, peace plan for, prosperity, peace to prosperity, as you said, peace to prosperity. That was the name of it back then, but it had peace in the title. And Friedman, by the way, is a big supporter of Israeli settlers in occupied West Bank, and is expressed skepticism of Israel ever becoming a state or having a state. Palestine ever having a state of its own. So that was the objectivity of these two guys that was writing this peace plan in 2020. What they included was that Israel will control all of Palestine's borders, airspace, foreign policy, and security. All of that will be handled under this so-called peace plan. Palestine will not have any control over its own foreign policy or security or anything like that. According to the conditions, Hamas and all the other militant groups classified as terrorists by Israel will be disarmed and fully demilitarized. We've heard that before. That's what Trump is now proposing today, that Hamas give up all its arms. Okay? The state of Israel will be responsible for control of the airspace. It will actually put the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Temple Mount under Israeli sovereignty. That's one of the plans of 2020, okay? And they also proposed that since Palestine wants to have a capital in Jerusalem, they're going to rename a garbage dump that is on the outskirts of Jerusalem as the new Jerusalem capital of Palestine. A garbage dump. That was the plan from 2020. Now, that plan didn't get accepted. The plan was trash. People said, no way, that's not going anywhere. But what's happening is they're bringing it right back again. All right? And then Trump, rather disingenuously, he says when he's asked...
You read a lot of stuff online, and how much of that can you validate?
What I told you is 100% validated. It's in the plan.
But I do want to let you know this.
Yeah.
This is a fact.
Yeah.
I've never seen such ugly behavior from a group of humans as I've seen from the left and the Democrats in the past couple of years. Nasty. When Charlie Kirk was killed, nasty.
Okay,
so nasty. Some of them should be hung by the scruff of their neck.
Okay,
nasty.
We're not talking about domestic politics and people, from the Democrat and the Republican. We're talking about foreign policy. And the foreign policy is there was a plan cooked up by Trump's son-in-law that was offered.
Now, see, you say cooked up. Now, that's a pejorative term.
No, it's not a pejorative.
Up.
No, he came up with a plan.
Up.
It's like
it's not cooked up.
It's like stilts.
I said the stilts.
Okay, the 20.
He walks on stilts and he's badly built. I stole that from a Bob Dylan song.
Yeah. So anyway,
Bobby Dylan's in my brain. He's driven me for 40 years insane.
Yeah. So anyway, all of this plan that is now the 20-point plan, it ignores reaching a two-state solution to Palestine. Trump said, I don't know anything about two-state solution. It might be one state, it might be two states, it might be a bi-state. He said that.
That's what you don't understand, so you don't get
He's
it.
lying.
He's not lying.
Yeah, he is.
No, you just don't know.
Oh, he's just
being
coy. He's being coy.
No, he is...
Negotiating. Yeah.
And you look at... Let's not put you down, but you can't hold a candle to him when it comes to negotiating business.
Yeah.
And I less. Okay?
Well,
I less. Look at... We've really been without leadership. If the truth be known, let's go all the way back. Maybe George Sr. and then Clinton. After that, we've had no leadership. We've had a bunch of wimps. We had a guy who was in the presidency, Bush. I like him, nice guy, met him, But you know who was the president? It wasn't Bush, the second Bush. It was that other creepy guy whose daughter came after, who said she was a Republican, but a Republican name off turned out to be a rhino. What was her name?
Cheney.
Cheney, yeah.
Cheney,
I
yeah.
never, look,
Yeah.
I will say this. Arrogantly, if somebody wanted to stoop, but it's not arrogant, so you can take your judgment and flush it down the toilet or do with it what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. When I pick up stuff on people, I've never in my life so far, I've had a hard time listening to Rhett. Not well. And I've realized when I peg somebody, generally I got him pegged. I didn't like Cheney ever, never, never. Don't like him, didn't like him, don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, well, he was vice president and he was the Secretary of Defense in the Republican administration. So you're sitting there telling me the Republicans were not Republican.
I have a right not to like a Republican.
Yeah, the Republicans.
You see that?
Yeah, that's what I'm
I didn't like him.
Yeah, you didn't like him.
He's too far to the damn
tough
right.
Luck.
Yeah, tough luck.
Tough luck. Yeah.
Tough luck.
Yeah.
So anyway.
He was a neocon, by the way.
Well, what?
Cheney, a neocon. You've heard of that before. Neoconservative.
I thought it was some sort of a game they play online. What's a neocon?
Okay. I'm not.
No, what is a neocon? Tell me.
Okay, I'll get into that.
Just simply tell me, what does it mean?
A neoconservative.
Oh, neoconservative.
Neoconservative, yeah. Neoconservatives were basically warmongers. They wanted to go out and fight wars. Cheney was a warmonger.
Eagle.
Yeah.
As opposed to a dove.
Yeah.
Hawk. We used that back in the 60s when we
Yeah.
were protesting for peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neocon.
Okay. So
A neo, say it again. It means neo.
neoconservative. Neoconservative.
It means new conservative?
It is like a pseudo-conservative. They have certain aspects.
Pseudo means fake.
Actually, neoconservative is a liberal Democrat who happens to have a strong hawkish attitude towards foreign policy. That's what it was.
Now, we have rhinos in the Republican Party. It means Republican in name only.
Yeah.
What did the left have if they have, like, the left in name only?
Dinos.
Really? Is it dinos? The
I
Democrat
just
in
thought
name
about
only.
it. Yeah, I just thought
Oh,
it was really
dino.
good.
Are you a
Rhinos and
dino
dinos.
or a rhino?
Dino,
All right, very good. So you coined that
I
phrase
just coined that
now.
phrase, right?
Hey, that was coined now. And by the way, if you use it, send your residual to.
Right. Okay. So.
God help
So anyway,
you know,
my only point here in this so-called 20-point plan that is not already defined anything about how you're going to settle the West Bank. You know, what's the return of hostages? I think as part of what I call reparations for the damages. You've seen the damage of Gaza. It's been destroyed. They've estimated
it's the worst horrible thing I ever saw. It looks like Dresden.
They are estimating it's going to cost $50 billion with a B to just rebuild that area. Israel was dropping bombs. We pay for the bombs. They're dropping them. They're destroying this stuff.
Who's going to pay for it? We are, right?
That's the question. Who's going to pay for it? Frankly, the person that
You're yelling again, though.
The person that blew it up should pay for rebuilding
no, that's
it.
like saying, well, you know, who rebuilt Germany? But we know who rebuilt Japan. We did.
Well, actually, the Japanese and Germans did a lot on their own too. A lot of labor, hard labor, to do that. You know, they did not work. They worked very hard to rebuild their country. But what I'm saying here, here are a couple of.
I know now why God, my Father in heaven, said He repented of having made man. And man is so disappointing
And stupid.
to me.
And stupid. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway,
and then you put the 7 deadly sins of pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a pride parade.
Okay. So let me make a couple of suggestions for Donald and for Bibi Netanyahu.
Yeah.
Okay, they got 2 million Gazans who are living in
Oh
the
my
rubble.
God.
2 million.
Poor
They're living in the
people.
rubble.
Oh, God.
Now, the eventual plan is
I think I'd rather be shot.
the eventual plan is to reunite the West Bank and Gaza. The West Bank and Gaza. That's the plan.
Oh my God.
So the West Bank and Gaza is supposed to become the new Palestine. So in the meantime, take 1 million of those people that are now in Gaza without homes and living in the rubble and move them to the West Bank into the 800,000 homes that the Israelis have built as illegal settlements. 800,000 homes are illegally built in West Bank. And that's supposed to be part of Palestine.
800,000?
800,000 homes. Yeah, they've been
800,000.
It's a massive amount. Yeah.
So 800,000. So you've got.
So you could move. You could move.
800,000. That's 1 million. Okay,
Yeah. So you
let's
could
say
move 1 million people into those homes.
No, 4 million because you figure 4 per household at least.
Well, maybe it's 800,000 people instead of homes. I'm not sure. But there's a lot.
Well, you better get your fact.
No,
now,
I
I
agree.
expect a letter tomorrow
Okay.
like you send me all the time.
Yeah.
I was fact checking this, Rhett.
Yeah. Okay. No, you got a point there. There's the amount of
I hope
settlements.
there is 800,000.
Well, it may not be 800,000 homes. It may be 800,000 settlers living in those
That
homes.
sounds like a lot for little old Israel.
There's a lot of homes in the West Bank built by Israel, funded, by the way, by, as I've said before on the show, by American Jews that are, sympathetic to Zionism. And they have built and funded these homes in the West Bank. So what I'm saying is take the Jews that are living there and send them to Israel, because they're not supposed to be living there. That's illegal in the first place. And provide those homes to the Palestinians so they have a place to live while Gaza is being rebuilt.
I thought that Trump said he was going to give us now he's back in there. How about a flat tax?
Well, no, wait. So the other alternative would be something like sending in trailers, like we had in hurricane season here. When we have hurricanes damage, that FEMA had all these trailers, and they bring trailers in. So they could bring trailers in to Gaza. But why not move these people? It wouldn't be that bad for a Gazan to move out of Gaza to another part of Palestine. Okay? So that would make a very good sense.
It's not my carnival, not my monkeys.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that's the kind of thing that
What a
we need to
mess.
think of. It's a mess.
Well, look at George Jr.
Yeah.
Bush.
Yeah.
He went in there and stirred up a hornet's nest. And I always
You're
used to
talking about Iraq.
I used to admire the CIA. Now,
Yeah.
either they planned it that way, or we got some real dumbbells in there.
Yeah, I
Well,
think.
we know there's mass destruction weaponry in there, and
Yeah.
there wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
What the hell? They got this little Saddam Hussein who's sipping on his tea,
Yeah.
who's a bully.
We're gonna get to another CIA.
Was a bully,
We're
and
gonna
his
get.
sons were bullies, and they're all dead.
We're going to get to another CIA blunder in a little later in the show, but let's go on to the next topic because next
You know,
topic.
I liked
Right.
it when I was the shoe shine
Right.
kid in upstate New York, and I had the FBI that I admired from afar, and the CIA, and they were all they
You'll-
were the guys.
You'll love the
man.
next topic because it's something
They
that you're
were the
invested in.
guys. Oh,
It's something you're invested in. You'll
All
love
right,
the next
let me
topic.
go to my notes here. What's going on with Henry Winkler? He's been on my show. Anyway, I just saw something about Henry Winkler. I hope he's okay. All right, it disappeared. All right, so anyway, let's go. Where am I going to? Here. All right,
Number three.
We got number 2. Where's number
Three.
3? Okay, here's number 3. U.S. Army receives first Oh, yeah, but this may not be my company.
Who knows? Let's
Yeah,
go.
my
Let's
tens and
investigate.
tens of thousands of dollars.
Let's investigate.
Okay, U.S. Army receives first laser anti-drone weapons. AeroVironment has produced the LOCUST, a truck-mounted laser that can successfully shoot down Shahad. Now, I'm going to send this to my investment counselor who told me that I've already lost a bunch of money in this company. His company's doing jack crap. And now I'm ticked off. Hold on, I got to find this guy. What's that guy's name? Oh, Ed. Let's send this to Ed. Okay, E.D. Ed. Let's see. John Hoff. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So anyway, while you're sending that, let me explain this. This is a big development.
Yeah.
It just came out last week. This company
Now
called
everybody else is going to go with this other guy. I should put my money in this company.
AeroVironment, and it has increased by like 500% in the last 3 months in its stock value, massively increased. Yeah.
Well, great.
Yeah.
So my
no,
let's say,
that doesn't mean what I'm going to explain here. Drones and anti-drone systems, including lasers, are the thing. That's the cutting edge area. Both the drone and
but I've had
and
this
the
money
lasers.
invested for 3.5
Okay,
years.
well, it takes time to.
Well,
to get
why is
stuff
this
going.
other company doing
Who
good?
knows? Maybe they're invested
But
with
there
this
is
guy.
one good thing of hope.
Yeah.
There's this. I remember when I was handling the advertising for Tommy,
Yeah.
and he said he had the Nissan dealership in town as well as the Hyundai. So he said, after years and years of us, he was with me for 16 years. He said, "Oh, you can go ahead and sell advertising to Toyota." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because we've realized something. We all work off of each other. Somebody comes to look at a Toyota, they may go across to Nissan. Somebody comes to look at the Nissan, they may go to the Toyota. That's why there's clusters. Also in food courts.
Mm-hmm.
When I used to handle Hot Dog Charlie's advertising, and we open up a new store, the 8th store, or whatever, in Connecticut, they went in there. There was nobody in there. There was them, and maybe there was a Burger King. There were 2 of them.
Yeah.
But a year later, they went from $250,000 to $500,000, $600,000.
Because you had more restaurants in there.
Right.
Yeah.
They feed, literally, restaurants feed, it's a funny thing,
Yeah.
off of each other.
Okay.
So the same thing.
All right. Well, let me explain this
So
technology.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, let me explain this technology. This is on truck-mounted infantry squad vehicles. It's a 20 kilowatt laser,
Yeah.
and the laser is strong enough that it can shoot down a Shahed drone. Now that's really a fantastic development, and one of the reasons why is because it's so cheap. One firing of the laser costs pennies per shot. What you're doing now with shooting down all these drones, you're using expensive rockets, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 Patriot missiles, all this kind of stuff. Those cost a hell of a lot of money, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So the drone is being shot down by a low-cost laser. Okay, pennies per shot. That's very important. So anyway, this
Pennies
company.
per shot, yeah.
So and it's already out there. It's been field tested and it's now being deployed in the United States military. It's not in Ukraine.
It's really getting quite scary. I tell you why. Do you know
Yeah.
now that what they're going to have now? Let's say they wanted to take out Rhett Palmer.
Yeah,
Maybe
they can send a drone to your window and shoot you in the head.
Well, no, the drone would recognize my face.
Yeah,
Immediate right through the head. Never know. Boom, you're gone.
yeah. Well, that certainly is a possibility. I don't know whether that's being used in counterterrorism in Israel against the Hamas. That might be. Who knows? I unfortunately, they use big bombs. Most of the time, they drop a big bomb on a whole building instead of
really,
using the small targeted
I mean,
things.
I'm
yeah.
a nobody,
yeah,
and
but you have some good ideas.
did they have to really decimate?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the
Why
right
do
word?
they have to drop a
De-
2,000-pound bomb?
Decimate
Yeah.
Gaza?
Decimate it. Yeah, decimate it. Exactly. It's terrible.
Except the only thing that makes sense is what I was saying initially, and
Yeah.
who am I?
Right.
Is I said if you go in to get the cancer, you don't leave 50%. And I think Netanyahu
Yeah.
was so ticked off of this attack that they said this is our excuse now to finally go in and annihilate these people who wanted the annihilation of the Jews. Remember,
Yeah.
they said they wanted the annihilation of the
Yeah.
Jews.
And you know, their proportion, and based on the number killed in October 7th, their proportion now
I
killed
understand,
is
but
100 to 1.
Okay, so
100
same
to
with,
1.
same with Germany.
Yeah.
Those sons of guns, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the
Have you
drones.
been to Germany?
Yes. Let's go back to drone. I lived in Germany for.
Did you have any latent anger towards those people?
No.
I did when I first landed there, but you know what I
Yeah.
said? I said, Rhett, look around the street corner. I was on a square looking around. It was a circular drive, and I said, all these people, they weren't even babies when this whole
Right.
thing went down.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
can't blame these new just because they have the same
Right.
accent, you know.
Right. Okay. So.
But I've had to go, and I'm part German. Did you know that?
Well.
I am.
Okay. All right.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Okay. All
I'm
right.
also, did you know this? That I am in fact part black.
Yeah, you
African
told me you're
American.
1%. Yeah, you told
Well,
me.
at least 1%.
You,
I forget exactly.
you and Elizabeth Warren.
She's Indian.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm black man. So they have what do they call the recompense of what they say?
Yeah, yeah.
They want to get money from people who have never had slaves to give to people who never were slaves. What a bunch of bunk that is. That's never going down, baby.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Get a job.
here's another one. The Ukrainians have come up
I
with.
came up from the
Rhett,
ghetto. You can
Rhett,
too.
you want to make an investment? Here's another one to look into.
brother.
The Ukrainians have come up with a new innovation. They're always coming up with innovations. They've been building drones now that can fly all the way into Russia and bomb stuff, the
Yeah.
oil refineries and all
Boy,
that
they
kind of
really
stuff.
kicked butt, didn't they?
The newest thing is called cannon-fired nets. They take out of a cannon, fire it up, and it opens up into a net, and it captures the drones. The drones are flying. They have wings. And if the wings are caught up in a net, they crash.
Yeah.
They can't fly. And actually, what they've even come up with, the
I
Ukrainians have.
think the laser's a little bit better.
I know, but this is cheap. This is on the cheap. And what they've now developed is something that's like the size of a flashlight that you click, and it will fire a net at short distance.
I got a better idea.
At short
what we're
distance.
going to do is take one of those cannons they use in the circus. We're going to put. Give me a good first name of somebody who lives in Ukraine.
Ivan.
Ivan. We're going to put Ivan in the cannon, and when he goes, we give him a super gun. We shoot him up in the air, and he shoot the drone.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
And then comes down with a parachute. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an idea, too. You could write a cartoon for that
Let's
one.
let the cartoonists take you.
Yeah.
You know, the cartoonists
Okay.
seem
All
to be
right.
brilliant people.
Okay, so anyway, there's a lot going on with drones and innovations in anti-drone, like the nets. Those things may work, and that's low cost. That's the key. See, our idea is we have to build a $5 million thing to shoot down a $200 thing.
I think God's got a sense of
Yeah,
humor.
we've got a budget problem because and one of our budget problems is we make expensive stuff to shoot down cheap stuff.
Did
Okay.
you ever think a guy that had a TV show
Yeah.
that you said, you're fired, would end up becoming president of the United
Yeah.
States?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the Bible says God chooses the foolish things of this world
Yep.
to confound those that are wise in their own
Yeah.
eyes.
All right. Well, let's go on to the last question. We got one more thing. That's
Okay,
interesting.
and now for the last questions, American policy for Venezuela. Now, they just shot another vote yesterday.
Yeah.
The Trump administration is positioning 6,000 troops near Venezuela, okay, and U.S. Navy and Air Force assets that has attacked narco-terrorists, drug boats, and is accusing Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro of running a narcotics cartel to undermine the U.S. and kills. Well, they are offering money the cartel is offering money, $50,000 if you kill an American, someone in authority.
Well, we have a bounty on Maduro's head, by the way. The U.S. does on Maduro's head. Rather controversial. Here he is a president of a country, and we've put a bounty on his head and called him a narco-terrorist.
Who?
The U.S. has called Maduro a narco-terrorist.
Yeah.
Now, Vance is apparently in favor of attacking these boats. J.D. Vance is in favor of attacking these boats. I have real questions about that because this is, as I said, extrajudicial killing. There's no trial. There's no evidence presented in a court. There's no nothing. How do we know that these guys are really what they say they are? You know, is our intelligence missing about weapons of mass destruction? Maybe they're also screwed up about this smuggling of the narcotics. Maybe they have the wrong information. The guy has a bunch of fish on his boat, and they blow it up. So we could be engaged in murder on the high seas. That's one problem I have. And I said that before. We used to go through the drug interdiction, which was catching the boat, getting the guys off the boat, interrogating them, seizing the contraband, as they called it, and then prosecuting them accordingly. That's how we used to do it. Trump has gone to this new philosophy that these people are what's called illegal combatants or something like that. There's some term for it in the law that allows you to kill somebody without trial if they are a combatant, a non-declared combatant or something. So I'm very skeptical of the legal grounds for murdering people on the high seas. I am. But Vance supports that. But here's the thing. You also have...
You know, people need to be careful, you know, what they're for.
Don't get in a boat.
Well, no, it's a very serious business. Now, they are killing our people. They
Well,
are, in a sense, terrorists. But let me ask you, hold on, let me ask you this. What about Truman? You know, what happens to, he was the final guy who said, let's drop the bomb on Hiroshima, right?
Yeah,
What about the pilot who flew that, knowing what he was about to do?
right.
Kind of knowing. What human being can really know unless they're in the center of that bomb?
The Enola Gay was the
But
plane.
you know,
Yeah.
it did in fact save the lives, perhaps even of my Uncle Jack, of millions and millions of our troops.
Right.
Because we said, hey, they were relentless. The Japs would not give up. They were resolved. And they're a people of honor, so they didn't care. They really didn't care if they all had to die in order to honor the who's the guy that was in charge
The
over
emperor,
there? The emperor,
Hirohito.
yeah.
Hirohito. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him anyway? I'm sure he died.
Well, anyway.
But what happens to a Truman before God?
Yeah. Let's go. He's probably had a thorough grilling about that whole case. I don't know whether he could declare himself innocent in annihilating, literally obliterating those people who were not combatants. That becomes a big, big issue, and I have serious reservations about that. But I want to go back to this thing about Maduro and his alleged claim of being a drug trafficker and the plan to overthrow him. Now, the point is, you don't know, and a lot of the audience may not know, that Trump tried to overthrow Maduro in his first term. He had this guy named Juan Guaido. Remember Juan Guaido? He was the alleged, fairly elected president of Venezuela against whom Maduro had stolen the election. So what happened was the U.S. under Trump in first term engaged the CIA in an effort to try to overthrow Maduro, working with Juan Guaido. Okay? And the CIA, that was Gina Haspel.
I've been looking for Guaido all my life.
Yeah, Gina Haspel, she and the CIA cooked up a plan, I'm using that term again, cooked up a plan for essentially democracy promotion program to secretly sponsor leadership training. That was their plan. They were going to sponsor leadership training. And Guaido and his gang, they ended up having a plan for some of the military would rise up against the Maduro campaign. The high courts would support Guaido against the campaign, and you'd have big protests in the street. all of that was a flop. None of it worked. It was a
How come they don't
disaster.
call in an old guy like you now, a retired diplomat? Why don't they call you in and consulting on all this stuff?
Well, you know, I'm hoping that there are people that are paying attention to this, because the reality is that was a massive failure.
You know what I would do if I was the president?
What?
I would find some farmers. I'd start with farmers, and I'd go to communities and say, who do you know that's really a wise man, who spares his words but has depth of character?
Yeah.
And I would create a group, might be 50 people, men and women who are exceptional,
Yeah.
and say, look, we're gonna compensate you. You're gonna go into a hotel. We're gonna rent a big room, and let's have some creative ideas here.
Creative and practical.
It's just like Ford Motor Car
Yeah.
Company. I used to know some people that worked there, regular working stiffs,
Right.
and they would never take advice. And later on in life, they start taking this, suggestion box.
Right.
And the guy who's working with that wrench every day understood you could do this with this instead of this. And they go, well, that's pure genius. That'll save us, $500,000 a year.
Right.
Or maybe millions.
Right.
And so, we got these guys in here. We could have some objectivity,
Well, see, I
some
think
fresh eyes.
I think the question here is it a good idea for the U.S. to try to organize a coup d'état against a foreign government? Is it a good idea?
Once you start that, it's kind of like killing. First of all, why didn't Kennedy win against Castro? Castro has been a thorn in the side to really beautiful people. Cubans are hardworking people.
Yeah.
I know many of them.
Yeah.
One lady here, she just passed away, but her father was the Sugar King. There's a book
Yeah.
out on it.
Right.
I mean, they had had 1 million acres,
Right. The
And,
Fanjul family.
and they took it all.
Yeah, the Fanjuls. They live very wealthy down in Palm Beach area.
Well,
They're
there's
the-
another family up here that was well-to-do. He
okay.
owned she got the moorings as a wedding gift,
Okay.
but when she got it, all
Yeah.
it was sand.
Yeah, it wasn't worth that much.
And then the guy up at John's Island met with Hehor, who owned it with his wife, and said, "Look, we got these extra trees. Take the trees from John's Island we're clearing out for these houses and plant them down there." And as soon as he did, they started selling like crazy, the lots.
in the moorings,
Yeah, in the
as they
morning.
move the trees down there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point is that we now have a possibility of Trump and his neoconservative Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, attempting
Now,
to.
why neoconservative? No, I've met him.
Yeah,
He-
Rubio.
now, there's
Rubio.
another Cuban kid.
Yeah, he's a Cuban kid.
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway,
Well, now, you said he's a
neoconservative.
which means to you that's a pejorative term coming from your lips, right?
Well, it is a description of a person who has a military aggressive policy, who wants to, and that's why he's really not America first. If you want to look at it, a neoconservative cannot be America first.
What do you mean? Why not?
He wants to engage in expeditionary warfare and changing countries around the world. Now, if you overthrow countries right and left all over South America, that does not mean you're America first.
Yes, it does. It means removing the thorn in the side to America.
So we need to send
Our
troops.
children, let's say you had a daughter. You didn't have any kids, did you?
Would you
Either
send
did I.
troops into Venezuela?
I'd be very reticent to send
Well,
my
so
boys
would
or
I.
girls.
So would I. I'm MAGA in that sense, or maybe more than MAGA. I'm more America first. I am against our engaging in adventures. We've done that in Iraq. Look how bad that turned out. We did it in Afghanistan. How did that work out? Okay.
Look, if you can make cell phones blow up in the ears of Hamas leaders, you can take out anybody you want.
Well,
And just like this whole thing, I don't understand it. I mean, I'll have to. I should fast and pray and ask my Father in heaven. But why didn't Netanyahu bring his secret police and Mossad? Is that what they're
yeah,
called?
yeah,
Mossad.
yeah,
Well, why didn't they? They could have taken out these guys, couldn't have they?
yeah. Use the little drone you were talking about and go after them with facial ID and a little drone instead of dropping a 2,000-pound bomb on a major high rise.
They're little babies.
Yeah,
Unless you
Yeah.
want to annihilate a people.
yeah. Which is unfortunately,
But you
I think
know what?
that's partly.
God sees.
When
and
you
God
say-
God knows the hearts of men.
You
know.
may have put your finger on it when you said, unless you want to annihilate a people.
Yeah.
There are some people in the extreme Zionist wing. You're a Zionist, but you're not an extreme Zionist. There's some in the extreme Zionist wing that want to
I'm
annihilate
not actually.
the
I
people.
really don't know if I'm a Zionist. All I know is I'm for the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I do believe He gave that land.
Abraham.
Abraham.
Do you know, by the way, the Muslims call him Ibrahim with an I, with an I. Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
Yeah. Abraham.
Well, technically, he is their father also.
He is.
They got it on a technicality here. And God's going, oy vey, I wanted this for the Jews, but you went into your maidservant. What are you doing? You caused all this mayhem all these years. We got to take a break, and then guess what? The pastor's in here.
Okay.
Are you here, Pastor? All right,
here.
I know he's here. He walked in. And so we're going to say goodbye for today. By the way, today's broadcast is
good.
brought to you by Riverside Theater. Some new
Yeah.
great shows starting. Actually, we'll be at the theater tomorrow night. Riverside Theater in Vero Beach, Florida, and also Center for Advanced Eye Care. You need a great eye surgeon? Dr. Mallon, Center for Advanced Eye Care. Who loves you, baby?
All right. See you.